Hey everyone, welcome to 2020's virtual site for NeoCon 2021. We've got this pulled together for those of you who could not join us here in Chicago. I have to say, though, it's beautiful here this time of year, but regardless, we're so glad that you're with us and wanting to learn more about what our products offer. Now, I'm Renee Cooper, and I'm a training specialist here, and I'm also a working designer. I've been in the industry for over 30 years now. And so I want to talk to you about what you need to know about 2020 Cap Complete. Now, you never know what you don't know, right? So the question is, what do you need to know? Do you need to know why we offer three different applications for office design? No, not really. You just need to know which one is right for you. But how, right? It's tough. Maybe you are just out of college, getting your first real job. And you're like a sponge, right? You're just ready to soak it all in, learning anything and everything there is to know. Or maybe, like me, you've been around for a while and you're just feeling comfortable with the process and the tools that your dealership is using. But are they the right ones? Are they right for you? We are all busy, and there's usually not enough hours in the day to get projects out the door, let alone having time to see what tools are out there to make our lives a little easier. Now, as a trainer, I always like to ask the question, so where are you with using the program? Is this your third day on the job, or have you been using the program a while, feeling comfortable with it, and you're just really looking to learn a few tricks you might not have known about? I also like to ask the question, and what other tools, if any, have you used in the past? And I will say 90% of my students respond to the second question with, I have used AutoCAD, either in school, past or current positions, somewhere along the way, a majority of us have experience with AutoCAD. Now, at this point, I'm sure you're asking, what does this all have to do with what I need to know about Cap Complete? And well, it has a lot to do with it, actually. So, again, we offer three unique space planning specification tools. We have Cap Complete, and Giza, and they're each designed to work with worksheet and visual impression, giving you the tools you need to take a project from start to finish. But the big question always is, which is the right one for you? There's always pros and cons. There's this works, but that doesn't work. We need this, but not that. What you need to know is there is no perfect program. But in a perfect world, I would choose Cap Complete out of the three. And I say this being a long time Cap and AutoCAD user, and also from knowing Giza through training. And now you're asking, so what are the differences? The benefits? Why are there three to choose from in the first place? And these are all valid questions. And so let's look at how Cap Complete fits in. First, Cap Complete is the most recent addition to our 2020 portfolio of office design programs. And it was largely added by request from our dealers to take all those advanced tools from CAP and integrate them into a program like Giza that has its own drawing platform built in. So, what are the benefits? Well, first, CAP Complete has its own drawing platform. So, similar to Giza, but different than CAP, which uses AutoCAD. And the benefit is one, you don't need the additional costs and maintenance of AutoCAD like you need with CAP. And two, this built-in drawing platform works the same as AutoCAD in terms of its commands and user interface. And so again, if you have any experience in using AutoCAD, which most of us do, it eliminates that need to learn the built-in drawing platform in Giza. Now, as you can imagine, this is a huge benefit in terms of cost, which in most cases is the driving factor in which program is used. So the benefit in using Cap Complete over Cap is mainly a cost savings. Now, does Cap Complete do all that Cap and AutoCAD have to offer? Yeah, pretty much when it comes to specification, having access to all 126 manufacturers' catalogs, there really is no difference. But no, when it comes to the drawing component. But let me tell you, it is pretty darn close. And we are continually adding more commands to Cap Complete to give you that full experience. Now, in terms of the benefits using Cap Complete over Giza, well, honestly, I think there are a lot of benefits. Now, many of them don't seem like much on paper, but as a user, and again, if you have any experience, well, I should say, if you ever have experienced any of these that I'm about to talk about in Giza, you're going to know where I'm coming from. So, first, let's look at some of those overall benefits of CAP Complete versus Giza, and then we'll get into a few individual ones. One, CAP Complete's user interface is the same as Worksheet. The Explorer bar looks and functions the same in both programs, giving you a cohesive experience as a user. And so you can see here on the left side of the screen, I have 2020 Worksheet and 2020 Cap Complete both open side by side here. And so you can see that the content tab is the same. So the overall Explorer bar is the same, having the content tab, projects, search, and bookmarks. Also has a preview pane. So it's all the same. Versus on the right-hand side of the screen, we have 2020 Worksheet open, of course, and then we have Giza. And so you can see there's a completely different look and feel and different in the way that the process works. Now, two, if you're an existing user of Giza, there is going to be no learning curve when it comes to using the 2020 Worksheet and 2020 Visual Impression for the other parts of your project. That process is the same. And three, Cap Complete has the ability to handle larger, more complex projects, not only from a software performance standpoint, but also from an organizational standpoint. And this is a big one for me. So, for example, Cap Complete gives you the ability to break out different elements of your project in terms of outputting information. So, you have the ability to use multiple title blocks, moving and changing component tags, working with layers, all to help you communicate your design not only to your customer, but also to who I consider your greatest asset as a designer, an installer. And so here on the screen, this is just an example of an older project that I had worked on. And on the right-hand side, of course, is just the overall floor plate of the space. But on the left-hand side are kind of the individual areas within the overall floor plate, right? And so you can see on those individual sheets, I have a floor plan. Sometimes I have a floor plan and in terms of a furniture plan, and then maybe a structural plan, depending on the furniture that's being used. I'm also showing a 3 dimension, which is very helpful for your installer. So this would be considered more of an installation package, but you could see where this would be a benefit as well to just your overall presentation to your customer. And like it's also calling out specific information about the materials used, just anything and everything that I may need to communicate about that specific area within the overall floor plate. And this is all being viewed from the same floor plan. So again, if you've had experience with AutoCAD, you know that it works with model space and paper space. And so model space is where we have our drawing. And then paper space is just where we can pull together different views of that drawing and print out. And so that's what we're doing. And so Cap Complete offers that. And it just, again, it gives you the ability to create more advanced, I guess, if you will, and more detailed information in terms of output, again, regardless if it's for a customer or for an installation team. And it does not require you to have additional product in your drawing like you would in Giza. You might have to copy the area outside of your floor plan in Giza to be able to pull together individual information about that. So it'd be like duplicating your work, where in Cap Complete, you're just viewing it in different ways. It's all just one complete specification. So those are kind of some overall differences. So now let's look at a few individual differences. And again, let me ask the question. Do you import DWG files for building shells that you might receive either from your client or from an A&D firm? If you're anything like me, yes, that happens quite often. Now, in Giza, at times, unfortunately, there are issues with this, especially from a performance standpoint. So one time I did a test on how long it took to import a DWG file into Giza versus Cap Complete. And what took 18 minutes in Giza took about 2 in Cap Complete. Okay. So I was working with a student who had experience in AutoCAD, and it was a new position for her, and they used Giza, and we were going through training, and I tried to point out to her some of the differences between Cap Complete and Giza to potentially promote to her team that maybe switching over to Cap Complete from Giza would be to their advantage, especially from a performance standpoint and a production standpoint in terms of your time as a designer. And so I did this test. And so I thought it would be fun for us to take a look for ourselves. So I have both of programs loaded here. So let me bring those up. So of course, on the left-hand side here, I have Cap Complete open, and on the right-hand side, I have Giza. And so I'm just going to go ahead and import a drawing into Cap Complete. And as you can see here, I'm on the Home tab in Cap Complete, and you can see these are where all the AutoCAD functions are. So again, very basic, same as AutoCAD. You have all of your drawing options, all of your modification options. You can do text, you can do dimensioning, you can deal with layers, and then also you can insert blocks, which is what we're going to do here. Now, you also have the ability to XREF in a DWG file, and that's a little bit more advanced. But again, Cap Complete is offering you all of those AutoCAD commands that we would use. But I'm just going to use inserting a block for now. So I'm going to select block, insert. I'm going to go out and grab that example. Now it's going to give me some options. I'm going to leave everything set as is. And I'm going to make sure and not explode this. All right. I want to keep it as a block. Because if I do need to make a change to anything in there, like maybe the room name is going to be right where I want to place furniture, I can always go into that block and then update it in my actual furniture drawing. And so I'm not going to explode that. So I'm just going to say insert. And so we'll give it a minute. It won't even take that long. See, it's already done. And there it is. Okay, so I'll zoom in so you can see that. All right. Now in doing that same floor plan in Giza, I'm going to go to File, Import, Export Styles. I'm going to import an AutoCAD. I'm going to go out and grab this. Same drawing. Now we do have some options to select from here, but I would keep everything as default. However, I would probably place my origin at the lower left extent. So I'm just going to click on that and say load. And you can see it's going pretty quick, not as quick as Cap Complete, but it's chugging along here. And you'll see it's also going through this import process. It's detecting different types of things within our actual drawing. Now it looks like it's finishing up. Obviously, this is not going to take 18 minutes. This is not what I used when I did that example, but it went pretty quickly. And let me OK out of this. But notice there are these large circles. And so sometimes during the conversion process, there are issues. Now, with Cap Complete, it is a DWG file format. And so when we're bringing in DWG files, there's typically never any issues. But when you're in Giza and you're bringing in a DWG file into a different file format, being the Giza file format, then there's potentially going to be some issues in terms of the translation. And so this would be a little time consuming. You'd have to go in and delete out these circles and then check in there to see what else might have occurred in terms of the translation. So that's importing. And honestly, that is a big one for me because that is something that I do quite often. All right, moving on. What about specials? Do you ever have specials in your projects, like a special size work surface? Or do you ever use custom items that are not in a manufacturer's catalog? Like maybe you have someone locally that manufactures something for you and you want to create custom items of those. Well, in Giza, you have the ability to create these. Well, in both of them, you do. But in Giza, well, in Cap Complete, it's much simpler to do this than it is in Giza. Plus, you have the ability in Cap Complete to create what we call custom catalogs, where these items can be stored and then, of course, shared with other users. Now, these custom items are then also available to be used in Worksheet, all right, because the platform is the same. So again, let's just look at an example. I have both programs open, and I'll just go ahead and open up, though, a new drawing for each one. Turn off my grid here. Well, let me start by saying in, Cap Complete, you have the ability to make what we call a new cap part. So that would be a special. And then once you go through that process, it's going to ask you to store it, and you're going to be storing it in what we call custom catalogs. And so here I have a Neocon 2021 folder, and then within there I have several things that I have called out as custom catalogs. And so for example, here I have one called special work surfaces, and then here I have this special size work surface that I created. And so then from here I can drag and drop this into my drawing. And then of course in Giza, we have that same ability to create a special item. And when we do that, it is going to be stored in a manufacturer's catalog, actually called user. So there's mine. The product line is called library. And so once I open that up, again, here are some different specials that I have created. And so again, here is that work surface that I've created in Giza. Okay, so they both offer that ability. Again, I think it is simpler to do it in Cap Complete. We don't have time to go through the process of actually creating that. You'll have to take my word for that. But the benefit of Cap Complete when you do have custom items is if you are in Worksheet, I can go to my same projects tab, and there are my same custom catalogs, and there's that work surface. So I can specify this either graphically or non-graphically. So that is an advantage and gives you a lot more flexibility. When you do take the time to create those special items, you want to be able to use them in any capacity. And last, do you ever use typicals, like the same private office or workstation configuration, for example, over and over in a project? Now, Giza does give you the ability to create a typical that can be shared from drawing to drawing, and so does Cap Complete, but Cap Complete takes it a step further. It actually automates the typical. So if you need to make a change to that typical, it will then change all instances of that typical for you automatically. And that's really called a CAP standard. And so again, If we go back into our different drawing platforms here, Cap Complete and Giza, I'm going to open up a new drawing. And same with Giza. Now, I already have some typicals made. So again, they're going to be stored in what we call a custom catalog. So down here, I have my typicals. I have a couple here. So there's a private office. And so there I can drag and drop this in. And so there, that is a cap standard. And then as well in Giza, I can go in and bring in a typical that I've created. And we'll place that. Now again though, Cap Complete takes it a step further because I can automate this, or it is automated. I don't have to, it already is automated. So for example, let's say I've decided, oh, I want to take out the chair, or they just want a different chair. So what I can do is I can come in here and go into my cap standard, and I have some options. So I'm going to undo my cap standard. So now it's just kind of individual components. So I can do what I need to do. I'm going to delete my chair. But then if I go in and kind of make a new one overriding the old, it will update all instances of that. Oops, I forgot to copy that so you can see that. So let's make use of our undo here. Of course, both programs have that, so not anything to be concerned about. So there. That's helpful. So let's go back and I'm just going to undo. And it doesn't matter which one you undo out of the ones that you have in your drawing. It can be any of them. And then I'm going to go in and make a new one. And I'm basically just going to overwrite the old name. So I want to be consistent though in everything that I pick in terms of components and my base point. And again, I'm going through this very quickly. We don't really have time to talk about how to do this in detail. But here it's going to bring me a list of the ones that are in my drawing. So there it is. And I'm just going to say next. And it's going to ask me to store it someplace. I'm actually going to store it in a different custom catalog so I don't overwrite my current one. And I've done that a couple times here. So I'll just say finish. Do I want to overwrite it? Yes. And there it is. Okay. So it's automated. Great tool. Great tool. Love it. Those are probably the big ones for me in terms of why I would choose Cap Complete over Giza. Again, most of us already have experience with AutoCAD. And so if you're not already considering Cap Complete, I hope this is helping you determine which application is going to be right for you. And again, the best part is that the learning curve is very manageable. Because again, most of us already have experience with AutoCAD, and if we're already a 2020 user, we already are versed in worksheet and visual impression. And so if you're ready to get started, I am here to offer you some custom online classes. We can always work with you to create something that is specific to what your needs are, either individually or your team. Or you can check out our special promotion that we have going on for our on-demand training. And that way you can get started right away. Well, thank you for again joining our virtual site here at NeoCon. And we hope to see you next year and just wish you all the best and take care. And again, reach out if you ever have any questions for us. We're always happy to help and talk about how we can help you.